Hello and welcome back to Realistic Fish Keeping. Today I want to show you how to quickly set up a microworm culture, or renew an old one. I've had this one going for around 6 months, which by all accounts is far longer than they normally last. I'm harvesting it daily, literally by removing the lid and using a small paintbrush to take the worms off, then dipping the paintbrush into the tank. I've kept the culture in a warmish room inside the house, added dry yeast whenever there's very few worms on the lid, which is approximately every 2 to 3 weeks, and added fresh oats when the culture looks too runny. I got this culture from a friend in exactly the same way that I'm about to show you, by taking a spoonful of an existing culture to seed a new one. First I'll boil a kettle and cook new oats, allowing it to cool and stand for 2 hours. This may sound like overdoing it, but oats will continue to dry and absorb the moisture for a couple of hours. So it's important to wait this long so it doesn't continue drying when the worms are in there. First we need to cut a hole in the lid to allow the culture to breathe. I fold over the lid and snip the cuts into the plastic. Then fold it over the opposite way and do the same. Removing a section in the middle leaves the culture vulnerable to insects getting in, so I put a cotton ball through the hole, and this way only air can get in or out. I'm flattening the cooked oats to the bottom of the pot, as it's better if it stays put. Harvesting the worms can be done from the lid but also at the sides of the pot, so you don't want to pick up any of the oat culture, as this may foul tank water. The consistency of the oats should look something like this. You don't want it too dry, and you don't want it too runny. If you turn it upside down and it doesn't fall out, that's about right. As I remove the lid from the original culture, you can see just how many worms there are in there, on the lid and inside the tub itself, on the walls, and also the medium on the bottom is glistening with movement. Next I'm going to add a teaspoon of the original culture to the pot, and again gently smooth it down. You don't want to press too hard at this point or you will squash the worms. Next I'm going to sprinkle on some dry yeast on top. In a microworm culture, yeast is a primary food source, but not for the worms directly. Yeast feeds on carbohydrates, so this is the oats in this case. As the yeast ferments, it produces heat, carbon dioxide, and bacterial byproducts. Microworms eat the yeast and the bacteria that grow in the culture. So essentially, the yeast drives the entire food chain in the culture. So without it, it's not going to last very long. And that's basically it. You can see how little of an effect it will have on the main culture, and now I have 2 cultures I can rely on, just in case one fails. And I could do this again and again and again if I wanted to. So if you want your microworm culture to last a long time, I suggest adding some yeast maybe every 2 to 3 weeks when you don't see as many worms on the lid or on the sides. You may also want to change the medium every so often by adding new oats, and even splitting the cultures up like this can help the main culture. So that's it. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.